Lions are about to receive an influx of talent coming back from injuries, but that, of course, means that some guys have to go. Let's talk about it. Hi, Mike Payton from A to Z Sports Detroit, and today we're going to talk about some of the guys that are going to have to be cut when the Lions bring back Alex Anzalone, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Ennis Rakestraw, potentially Aiden Hutchinson, Khalif Raymond as well. There's going to be 5, maybe 6 guys that are going to be coming back from IR soon. The Lions are going to have to release some guys to make room for them. Let's talk about 7 guys that could potentially be on the cut block soon. The first one is Chris Smith. This is a lunch pail guy that the Lions absolutely love. This is a guy that was like Will Harris, in recent memory, where the guy just will do whatever the Lions ask him to do. And because that, he's going to be around in some way, shape, or form. He just got signed to the 53-man roster on Saturday, but he's probably going to be the odd man out because they don't really play him a whole lot, even though he just does whatever they ask. I think that this is a guy that could maybe be on the roster next year, but in terms of right now, look for him to be potentially waived and then signed back to the practice squad right after. He just doesn't really fit what they need to do right now in terms of how much he can actually bring to the table. The next guy is Ezekiel Turner. Things started out really well with Ezekiel Turner when he first came to the Lions from, after the Cardinals let him go. Lions claimed him. The last 2 games have been really, really bad for him, and he allowed a touchdown in both. You saw in Chicago just how out of place he was on some of those coverage snaps that he had, and then against the Bills, I mean, all the linebackers were getting beat up, but he was getting beat up the worst. So there's a reason why he could potentially be the odd man out with both Reeves-Maybin and Anzalone coming back. You might not see Ezekiel Turner around too much longer. The next one is Tom Kennedy. Kennedy's a lot like Chris Smith in the sense that, the Lions just really like this guy. He's always going to be around. He'll be right back on the practice squad. But with Khalif Raymond coming back, they don't need Kennedy to be the return man anymore, and they don't need that extra receiver out there. Same thing with Allen Robinson. You might not notice that Allen Robinson plays every single week, but he does. He gets in about 8 to 10 snaps per game. Doesn't really get targeted a whole lot. He's kind of more of a blocking type wide receiver at this point, but with Raymond coming back, that's a whole nother thing that they can actually use in their offense. They use Khalif Raymond when he's out there. Plus he's, the return man, obviously. So either Kennedy or Robinson could be the odd man out. And at that point, you really have to go with, well, who can I get more out of? And that's actually a way that Kennedy could potentially stay, because he can not only help you out on offense, but he can also do special teams things. And I don't really know if Allen Robinson can. Next guy is Kwon Alexander. Lions just signed him. The former Pro Bowler, was really, really good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all those years ago. But, and he had a decent start here in Detroit. That game against Green Bay, he was pretty good. But against Buffalo, he was really bad. Really, really bad. So bad that the Lions didn't even play him Sunday against the Bears. He was a healthy scratch. That's not a good sign with 2 linebackers coming back. One of these 2 spots need to open up in the linebacker room, and Ezekiel Turner's one, Kwon is probably the other. Next guy is Michael Niese, on offensive lineman. I'm curious about what they're going to do with him, because he's been on the roster all year long. They've had a chance to play him, and certain injuries have come up. He's never had to. And then I start to think, well, maybe they're stashing this guy for something. But with Christian Mahogany showing on Sunday that he could potentially be a starter right now or in the future, it kind of like makes you wonder why Michael Niese is still here. Now, he's somebody who can play center and guard, and that's cool. But are they going to continue to hold on to him if he's not playing? I mean, we're coming to the playoff push right now. You need players that are playing. And is Michael Niese one of those guys? I don't know. The final guy is kind of the big one, Emmanuel Moseley. I hate to see it. I really hope that I'm wrong about this. But right now, it's just not looking good for him. He comes back, after 3 different injuries that took time from him. He comes back. He plays 16 special team snaps against the Colts, then is a healthy scratch from then on. He did play Chicago on Sunday, but again, just special team snaps. And, Campbell did say that last week was the best week of practice he had had in a while. But at the same time, it's, when it just feels like there's two sides to this story. On one side, it's like, okay, everything seems to be good, but then you're not showing me that on the field. You're not putting him in situations. You're not even putting him on defense. With Ennis Rakestraw coming back and the Lions secondary doing a shift with Brian Branch going to nickel and Amik Robertson going to the outside, it's like, and then Kendall Vildor, is still there. And plus, there's some other options there. It just makes you wonder, what's the plan for Moseley? Is he actually going to play defense this year? And if he's not, then I don't know. And do you keep a guy that you don't really plan to do anything with when you are going towards aspirations of being in the Super Bowl? So we will see what happens in the coming weeks. But these are 7 guys whose names I would be keeping an eye on, to be potentially cut, maybe brought back on the practice squad. We'll see what happens. Until next time, we'll see you then.